Wearers of the green.
Wheelock believed that a strong mind and a strong body are inseparable. The two, he said, are the essential makings of the whole man. Dartmouth men and women have long challenged themselves to reach new heights and glories, not always coming out on top, but always pushing, always striving for excellence. Some of these achievers have become legends in Dartmouth athletic history. Avery Gould, 30. Miles Lane, 28. Jack Shea, 34. Paul Gibbard, 36. Dick Durrance, 39. Bob McLeod, 39. Don Burnham, 44. John Glover, 55. Chick Agaya, 57. Bill King, class of 1963. And the legend goes on and on and on.
He gets off very smoothly. He's pressing him along. Very nice country walk.
Football has been the sport of intrigue at the college.
Here are the official Dartmouth football films of an amazing sports event. Did Cornell win on a referee's mistake? The picture record tells a dramatic story. Trailing 0-3 and with less than 2 minutes left to play, Cornell takes to the air. Walt Scholl fires to Bill Murphy, who lugs it to the Dartmouth 6-yard line. Earl Blake, the Indian coach, looks plenty worried. 1 minute will decide victory or defeat. Here's the first down. Mort Landsberg and the Big Red powerhouse drive through the line for 3 yards. Anxiety is written on the faces of Blake and his Indians. Cornell seems destined to beat the clock and snatch its 19th consecutive victory. Second down. Scholl hurls himself against the Indian stronghold, and Cornell's 2 yards nearer the goal. Hold that line is the Dartmouth chant. This is the crisis of a lifetime. The third down. A yard to go. Another line drive with Landsberg the spearhead of the attack. It's no gain. Cornell's penalized 5 yards for excessive timeout. Referee Friesel places the ball on the 6. For Blake, the seconds are dragging like hours. And now, the fourth down. They're going to try a pass. Scholl running to the right. A ball game hangs in the balance. He leaps and fires to Murphy in the end zone. Ray Hall bats it down. To all appearances, it's Dartmouth ball and the day saved. Or is it? Indians captain Lou Young protests to Frizzell as the befuddled referee allows another down. Dartmouth just can't believe what's happening. 3 seconds left, and here's the 5th down. Scholl's trying the same play. He runs to the right, looking for a pass receiver, finds his man, and this time connects with Murphy for a touchdown. Officially, Cornell wins.
Despite befuddled referees, Dartmouth coaches Blake, Laurie, Blackman, Krauthamel, and Ukeka have managed to win more than a dozen Ivy championships and 2 Lambert trophies. But it was under coach Jess Hawley that Dartmouth captured the national championship in 1925. The undefeated, untied team was captained by an aggressive young right tackle, Nate Parker, 26.
It was playing with a great bunch of guys, and coming out with a national championship was the most unusual for a college like Dartmouth in those days. That recognition may have been helpful in getting a Rhodes Scholarship, for all I know.
The legend that is Dartmouth football is immortalized in the memories of those who lived it. All-American Hall of Famer Bill Morton, 32, reflects on the changes in the game.
Football has changed tremendously. We used to play 60 minutes. We used to have to play on defense as well as offense. If you couldn't play defense, you didn't get in the game. If you couldn't play offense, you couldn't be in the game. Well, I think that athletics are an integral part of the educational process. I think that it develops a certain stick-to-itiveness and sacrifice. As the great coach Earl Blake said in his book, you have to pay the price. You have to sacrifice one thing or another in order to succeed if you really want to excel.
The rules of a game may change, but the qualities of an athlete remain the same. Jim Sapienza, 85.
I get up in the morning and run, and then I have classes, and then I can study, and then I go to practice and run, then study or read, and I go to bed early so I can get up in the morning and run. I'm aiming towards the 1984 Olympic trials, and then after that to the 1988 Olympic Games, and then 1992 Olympic Games. And then by then I should be an old man and won't want to do that anymore.
Sisters Judy Gear, 76, and Carly Gear, 80, are Olympian rowers who agree that persistence does pay off.
We train every day, and we, even if you don't really feel like going out for that afternoon workout, you feel a little tired, you go and do it anyways, and you work through it, and then you're glad you did it.
I started rowing at college. Learned to row, I guess because it was something different.
And I'd always been a swimmer, but that summer I went and watched Judy at the Olympics, and I guess my dad tells me that I was really crabby and grouchy and didn't want to be watching my sister rowing, and I said, someday I'm going to be in the Olympics with her. And
she did it.
I started rowing and didn't ever really think I'd be in the Olympics, but that's where I started. So it was here at Dartmouth freshman year.
Dartmouth athletes have gone on to the professional ranks. Kansas City Chief Nick Lowry, 78. Boston Celtic George Monroe, 43. Los Angeles Laker Rudy LaRusso, 59. And Seattle Mariner Jim Beattie, 76, who was a New York Yankee in 1978, defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers in Game 5 of the World Series, the only Ivy Leaguer to gain such a distinction.
The Dartmouth experience for me was really a series of challenges, whether it be on the athletic field or in the classroom. I really felt that there were new things being presented to me that I had to face. It scared me a little bit. I was thinking, gosh, now I'm not such an elite athlete anymore. There are lots of good athletes around.
One of those athletes was classmate Reggie Williams, destined to become the star linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals.
To be quite honest with you, I wasn't a highly touted high school athlete. I really felt intimidated by the team that was here in 1972 and also by the caliber of the athlete that played on that football team, and I didn't know what my chances were of making the team.
And it was that competition that made me find new ways to be better. Didn't come so easily for me anymore. I had to work at it.
There were no easy road for athletes. It didn't matter what sport or how well you did in your respective sports. Once you got in the classroom, you knew it was going to be competitive, and you knew what the professor expected of you.
There was a point in January of, my junior and sophomore years where I was going to class in the morning, going to baseball practice in the early afternoon, and then going to basketball practice in the late afternoon, and then going back to the studies at night. Putting all of that together and making it work taught me a discipline of how to handle my life and to make sure that things don't get out of hand.
That particular discipline pays a lot of dividends as a professional athlete, because our playbook is about this thick, and the demands on the individual to make a split-second correct decision is such that the discipline of study here at Dartmouth really does pay off. One of the most memorable football games that readily comes to mind was the 1973 game against Harvard, and personally, it was my first occasion to play middle linebacker. I was really infused with a lot of energy, because in my mind, the middle linebacker position is the ultimate defensive position. It was a real hard-fought game. I probably played one of my more intense games as a collegian. That particular desire to win and the motivation to win was so strong that it's strong with me today.
Playoffs, I had an interview with Howard Cassell. He asked me one question. Well, they don't teach you to pitch to Pete Lecoq at Dartmouth, do they? And I couldn't quite understand where he was coming from with that question, but I thought about it for a second, and I said, no, that you don't really pitch to Pete Lecoq, but it sure helps me to handle someone like you. The next question he asked me, are you scared? And I said, all I can really do is go out there and give it my best.
Gail Kosiera, 82, is the all-time leading scorer and rebounder for both men and women in the Ivy League. Kosiera remembers a championship season.
We were all very close, and I think we worked together well as units, and that's why we did so well. Even though our teams might not have been the most talented, when we came up against other teams, we still won because of that cohesion.
Bus Mosbacher, 43, attests to the value of teamwork with his successful defenses of the America's Cup in 1962 and 1967.
We chose our crews as much for compatibility as anything else, really. Obviously, they had to be capable. But there are a lot of capable people around who just were not compatible. And you've got to remember that in boat racing, and again, whether it's in the 2-man dinghy in college or whether it's the 11-man boat in the 12 meters, that you probably are together longer periods of time, both during your races and during your training, than in almost any other sport that you can think of. It's very much like football camp all year long, and it so happens you need about the same assortment of skills that you need on a football team. In sailing a 12-meter particularly, the coach, the manager, quarterback are all on the boat.
Mosbacher's ability to perform as a team player paid an unexpected dividend in 1968 when Richard Nixon offered him the position chief of protocol.
They said, you are known as a businessman, you're known in the sports world, and you might well say that I think what you learned at Dartmouth is part of it, that he did not want an effete image there. He sure as hell didn't get it in me.
Dartmouth President David McLaughlin, 54, overcame his greenness on the football field and discovered other self-truths as well.
When I came to Dartmouth, I probably was about the greenest freshman that ever walked down the campus. As I grew myself, or felt I grew, under the Dartmouth experience, I felt a great debt of gratitude to this college. A debt of gratitude, but also a great deal of affection for what Dartmouth meant to me in my lifetime. And so a good experience, or a healthy experience, or a growing experience in athletics isn't just something that helps oneself. It transfers into a feeling about the place.
Gold medalist track star at the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, Jerry Ashworth, class of 1963.
I'd almost have to sit here and think for a long time to answer that. But what makes Dartmouth special? The blend of people, the location, the atmosphere of the school, I think the emphasis on the right things, the emphasis on growing, the emphasis on giving somebody the chance to grow.
Some of my friends say that Dartmouth is not an educational institution at all. It's a disease, and once you get it, it's incurable.
It's a contagious disease. It spreads. One of my good friends in town here is from Dartmouth. He's a year ahead of me, and the two of us, I have been told, are sickening together. Nobody wants to be near us, which is fine and dandy because the two of us have a good time. We don't need anyone else. It's a disease. It's contagious. It's nice to be sick every so often.
Whether in defeat or victory, we are loyal just the same. And we'll sing to dear old Dartmouth, 'tis for her we'll fight for fame. And we'll shout her praises loud in every land, dear old Dartmouth.
They don't do it because they are asked to do it. They do it because it's a tradition and they like to be a part of it.
It is a tradition that is built by classes of the past, by the faculties, by the current students. It is a belief in this place.
It does inspire a good feeling in you. It lets that feeling grow. I think so. I think the major part is that if you want to feel good about yourself, no matter where you are, you can do it. But I think going to Dartmouth certainly helps. Through that whole program, the athletic program and the Olympic program and everything else, with what I think really and truly, I don't want to brag about this, but I really and truly think I went through it with the right frame of mind. I ran because I wanted to run. I continued to run because I did well. It was fun. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't have done it.